Now we'll go through some of the changes in the plumbing code that will be of interest to project inspectors. In the CPC, the California Plumbing Code, Chapter 3, there's been some modifications to the general regulations. In Section 301.2.2, there's now a new table, 1701.2, which is added to Chapter 17 that identifies additional material standards that are permitted when alternate materials and methods of construction are proposed for use by the design team that are in accordance with the CPC 301.3. In Section 309.4, that's a new section dealing with installation practices, plumbing systems must be installed in accordance with the CPC applicable standards and the manufacturer's installation instructions. The materials installed must not adversely affect the system and equipment or structure of the building and must be in compliance with the CPC. 309.5 is also new, and this deals with plumbing systems that must be installed in accordance with the sound limitations that are required in the CBC. So now we at least have some referencing to alert individuals of these requirements. Regarding water supply and distribution covered in Chapter 6 of the CPC, Section 603.5.21 deals with chemical dispensers. You may see these if you have a project involving swimming pools. The water supply to those chemical dispensers must be protected from backflow by one of the following methods: either an air gap, atmospheric vacuum breaker or AVB, a pressure vacuum breaker VFG assembly, a spill resistant pressure vacuum breaker, reduced pressure principal BFP assembly. These are all acceptable methods to provide this separation and prevent backflow. Regarding water supply and distribution, still in Chapter 6, in 605.12, PVC piping exposed to direct sunlight must be 24 inches maximum in length and protected from UV degradation. It must also be wrapped in 1.02 millimeter thick tape. It must be otherwise protected, such as with water-based synthetic latex paint. So this is how UV degradation of PVC is addressed, is in this new section. And the next section here, 609.4, with regards to testing, it's mainly been reworded of the existing requirements. As you can see here, with regards to the next several sub-bullets, the pressure testing required at the completion of installation is the same as what it was before, as was the next one regarding using water which is greater than or equal to the working pressure, or air, 50 psi minimum, except for plastic. The 15 minutes minimum duration still needs to occur with no leakage occurring. So these current regulations are reworded. There is some air testing of some plastic materials may be permitted now. Interestingly now, PX, PE, or PE-RT may be tested with air when permitted by the manufacturer. With regards to sanitary drainage in Chapter 7, 701.2 notes that ABS and PVC DWV piping must be installed in accordance with Table 701.2 and 1701.1 and the fire stop protection requirements in the CBC. 715.3 relates to the replacement of existing building sewer and storm sewers using trenchless methodology must be installed in accordance with the ASTM F1216. The cast iron is not permitted to be repaired or replaced using trenchless methods. Replacement using cured-in-place pipeliners is not permitted for use on collapsed or compromised piping. In Chapter 9, dealing with vents, 903.1, ABS and PVC DWV piping must be installed in accordance with the fire stop protection requirements in the CBC. This is how fire stopping concerns have been addressed. In 906.1, ABS and PVC piping and vent terminations exposed to sunlight must be protected by water-based synthetic latex paint. Again, the UV degradation of ABS and PVC have been addressed through this modification. Regarding storm drainage in Chapter 11, ABS and PVC DWV must be installed in accordance with the Table 1701.1 and the fire stop protection requirements in the CPC. Again, we see this is how fire stopping concerns have been addressed for these situations using this piping. With regards to fuel gas piping, these next several sections deal with protection from overpressurization. 1208.6.5, PVC and CPVC pipe, tubing, and fittings are not permitted for fuel gas distribution. For 1208.9, actually it's a 1208.9 and 1208.10 that deal with the protection of overpressurization that's mentioned. So the overpressure protection devices are required where gas supplied exceeds 2 psi, and in 1208.10, overpressure protection devices must limit the gas pressure to the 2 psi maximum to each appliance in the event of a line pressure regulator failure. This overpressure protection device must be adjusted to the appliance manufacturer's installation instructions. It must also be something that operates independently. The failure of this primary pressure control device must be detectable. Continuing on with fuel gas piping, in 1210.1.3, for steel fuel gas piping installed underground, it must be protected against corrosion. Galvanizing is not acceptable protection of underground gas piping. Acceptable protection methods are as listed here. Piping must be constructed of corrosion-resistant material, or the piping has a factory-applied electrically insulating coating. Therefore, in these sections, the protection of steel underground fuel gas piping is addressed in more detail. Continuing with the fuel gas piping, as far as protection against corrosion again, the cathodic protection of underground fuel gas piping is permitted and detailed as listed here. The cathodic protection system needs to be installed. Cathodic protection parameters are established. Sacrificial anode testing parameters are also established, as is the cathodic protection test failure protocols that are identified. And the impressed current cathodic protection inspection and testing requirements are also established. The test documentation retention requirements, installation of dissimilar materials is also covered, and cathodic protection of steel risers is required. Continuing with the fuel gas piping, in 1210.1.7, plastic piping is permitted to be installed underground, but it's only in the outdoors. This 12.1.7 of the CPC used to conflict with itself and now allows 18-gauge tracer wire. So the tracer wire is required is insulated 14 AWG copper wire, or other approved product to facilitate locating. The new section 1210.2.4.3 provides information about gas piping on rooftops elevated above roof surfaces need to be supported per the requirements in Table 1210.2.4.1. This section deals with the rooftop gas piping installations has been addressed now. Regarding 1211.2, the gas piping systems containing CSST must be bonded to the electrical service or lightning protection grounding electrode system. And the bonder jumper must include these following elements. It needs to connect to a metallic pipe fitting or CSST fitting, must not exceed 75 feet in length, and the bond connection must be in accordance with NFPA 70, which is referencing NFPA 54, section 7.13.2.4. Appliances must be connected to the building piping by one of the following methods. And this is a new item 7 that has been identified. It's an unlisted gas hose connector, which would often be used in laboratories and schools, are now formally permitted per 1212.4. And here's 1212.4, which is a new section dealing with injection or Bunsen burners. The unlisted hose is permitted to be used to connect Bunsen burners to the gas supply in laboratories and educational facilities.